Chapter 1 Introduction. Based on my theory of the origin of existence, in this work I expose what will be some of the limitations to overcome and take into account in order to achieve travel in time. In case my work Theory of the Origin of Existence is not known to you, I recommend that you read it beforehand if possible. If you have no way or interest in reading that book first, I will tell you why it will be important if you did. In this work I expose how existence develops, but in order to explain it, I speak of a new concept, or at least I have not heard it anywhere else. Time is not linear and it does not even exist as we perceive it. Broadly speaking, I explain that existence is in part a constant transformation without beginning and without end, which is why time does not exist, and what we call time is only a visualization of the transformation process. Until now, no one has proposed this, that there is neither a beginning nor an end, that everything is a transformation that happens without running through a timeline, the alteration of all matter and all energy being the same transcendence of what we call time. I decided to separate this work from my theory because in my other work I had to explain the way in which I supported my theory and why I put it that way. If true, this will be a question resulting from a new vision of existence and time itself. So in my opinion, it is a new way of being able to understand reality and, as I said, if true, it will be a huge advance in the correct direction to travel in time, which, in the way I put it, it will be to cross the line of transformation of normal energy to a different one or to a reversible transformation with respect to the rest. I will continue explaining later. I hope this work can help future generations with technological and scientific advancement. Chapter 2. There is no timeline. Considering that time develops differently in different parts of our universe, since it is supposed to be a transformation that happens at different speeds throughout existence, and that it is not a determining constant for all things, as we believe so far, which means that time passes differently and at different speeds in different places. The idea of believing that everything develops at the speed in which we are used to seeing things is due to our organic characteristics, which govern and makes us perceive things the way we understand them and by which we have precisely adapted the measures of things to our perception. It is the question why we believe that time works the same way everywhere. I think this problem is because we continue to learn to know and unravel the mysteries of our universe. Nobody had traced the theory that time is a continuous transformation of energy that, from the non-existent, allows in the transformation the constant creation, based on the continuous transformation and resulting in existence, which is and is modifying in such a way that it doesn't end. And because of this rationale, it doesn't start either, at least not in a timeline as we understand it so far. It is essential to understand this from the beginning, to be able to realize why nothing will last forever, and so that at all times we are very clear that we are part of that constantly transforming energy. It is very important to keep in mind that we are part of that energy transformation. I emphasize in this leaflet because I have realized that in many studies, when we study matter, and in this case time, we put ourselves on our side, and that is why we stop perceiving that we, like all matter, in the bottom line we are energy that is constantly changing. I believe that it is due to this lack of vision that we are part of the same development that governs everything conceived, and not that we are all energy, whether it has life or not. I think that the fact of having life, of conceiving life as we have conceived it until now, makes us ignore this vision of existence itself. That is why these fundamentals are totally new, which I am proud to embody here. Chapter 3. What is time? Considering that time is mere transformation and that it is only the measurement period of transformation through our perception, it is then that we see time for what it is, a transformation of energy. We and everything we know does not move through a linear time course, but it is the same energy that, due to its conditions, is carried out at different speeds, but leading to transformation, which is not more than the continuous reaction of energy change. The time will come to be the lapse of change of events of the transformation. Even, and if possible, time travel will explain this very foundation. But if there is no time, how can you travel through it? Basically, saying it in a way as an example, it will be like a chemistry experiment. Imagine a formula with various components inside a test tube. Suppose that everything contained in that test tube is our universe. Due to all the components that are inside, small and diverse reactions are taking place at different points within its content. Some of those reactions are faster than others, and some are not as reactive as others. At some point, within all that mixture that is transforming, due to the variety of different energy components that we have in our formula, a small point with that formula represents our planet. Each component represents the different stars of the universe, and the reaction they are taking and carrying out is the same transformation that occurs in our real universe at a different scale and speed. Continue with the exemplification that a small portion within that formula represents our planet, as it is, with ourselves inside. Imagine that within that small planet, with that formula, we develop the technology to be able to go out and separate ourselves from that Earth. These same little people are small chemical components that can be separated and are part of the complete specimen in the cylinder. They may have detached themselves from their original element, but they have not ceased to exist. Perhaps, and due to the multiple transformation, they have changed, but they have not ceased to exist. They have only been transformed, which broadly represents being part of the example itself, the greatness of our universe. We are matter conceived in constant transformation. Our development is limited to our own organism. In any case, we are changing energy, and to travel in time, we will really have to get rid of the normal change of energy reaction, go to a different change of our transformation in order to achieve it. In our example, if we integrate a component isolated from the rest of what is in the test tube, when shaking it, the components will mix, but when isolating a derivative while everything else is mixed, it will not. That is what it will represent within the continuous transformation of energy, to separate and not change at the speed of the rest, to remain with the same configuration while the rest follows its step. Chapter 4. How to travel in time? This explains a chemical transformation rather than time, but it happens that everything is energy, and in this way it is explained that, chemically, if we can isolate ourselves from the normal ruler of our own transformation, we may be able to travel to the future. Much has been said that if we are at another point in the galaxy, in such a coordinate we may be seeing or perceiving the vision of the Earth from a past. This is because at that point the causal is derived in the time in which one is actually living, and it is explained by being away from the normal course of time from one place to another, and that is why it is possible. It could work for time travel, as the energy transformation will run at different speeds at different points. The problem with this fact is how long it will take us to move from one point to another to arrive in the different time intervals. Perhaps over the years this execution can be achieved. The other way will be the isolation of the transformation of matter, but the situation is different to travel to the past than to travel to the future. Chapter 5. Limitations to travel to the past. The main limitation to travel to the past, taking into account that everything that exists is a continuous transformation of energy that includes us, is to achieve a technology that can reverse the succession of everything that exists, so that we can transport ourselves to the past. It sounds almost impossible to be able to reverse the transformation of the entire universe to travel to the past, since everything is continuous transformation. I believe that the closest thing, at least initially, will be to achieve a technology capable of returning until a defined moment, a part of some place that allows the regression of the succession of the continuous transformation of energy. In other words, it allows the events to go back as they happened until they lead to the present assumption, in the same way in which it was carried out but only in some region. It is as if we activated the machine and everything went backwards, but with the limitation that this regression will be happening in the continuity of the present and not going back to the past, that is, only the part where said process is taking place, making the flow return of the energies that occur in the continuity of the present. Likewise, it is as if a treadmill were to run backwards, but it will only be in a certain point and way, because I see it more complex to make all existence itself return to a previous plane, and I am not only referring to our planet, because assuming that one travels to the past, all the stars and others must be where they were at the moment to which one has returned. It is not that it is isolated from a single place. Therefore, I think that in the foreground the continuity of energy in a certain place can be reversed to evoke the past, but because this small portion that could be returning will be carried away during the continuous transformation of what exists, of the universe, this reversal will be developing within the new present, being more like a recreation. It could happen that this recreation has a new outcome, but it will be within the new present. It will not be in a parallel future. It will be more like taking back a portion of the development of the continuous transformation to give it an opportunity to be different in the continuity of the present, being a repetition with the possibility of another outcome, not returning to the past, if not recreating a portion of how it was, with the possibility of changing it within the line of the present, and not changing everything established. It is about recreating the past transformation, rather than allowing its normal transformation event to happen. It is possible because we do not run through a timeline as we perceive it until now, because everything is a transformation of matter, of energy. Ultimately, it will take place in the continuous period of transformation. It is as if the alteration of a certain space took another flow than usual, developing in the normal continuity of the transformation of energy of the whole. Chapter 6. Limitations to travel to the future. Regarding the future, I see a very latent possibility of being able to make trips to that point. Beyond having to go to another place in space where the transformation of energy runs at another speed to remain in it for a period of time, and then return to meet a future time of the Earth itself, I believe that it can be created some technology capable of isolating itself from the continuous transformation, which will allow the transformation of energy to run at a different speed than the rest of the normality of the transformation of the entire universe. It will be to depart from the normal course of our own transformation so that, as soon as we detach ourselves from that isolation, we can live at a more advanced time. In the same way, and following this logical process, a technology could be created to accelerate the transformation of energy, which will make anyone age faster or any object or thing suffer the misfortunes of continuous transformation more quickly. Although this will not really be traveling to the future, if not only accelerating the transformation process. With this last example, I show that time is only the process of the transformation of matter and energy. Note: in the same way as my book, Theory of the Origin of Existence, I invite you to tell me what you think or what vision you have on this subject. Text me on my Twitter account at J_M_V_F. What I seek is to find the truth and not to confuse or try to make believe a truth if it is not. I hope this serves so that whoever reads it has a greater vision and understanding of things, and of course, hoping that it is the way I say. This is due to the fact of wishing that I was the one who was right with the reason and not because of the fact of wanting to instill a falsehood. Thank you.